We have the 47th question. A shop owner offers the following discount options on an article to a customer. Successive discounts of 10% and 20% and then pay a service tax of 10%. Second option, successive discounts of 20% and 10% and then pay a service tax of 10%. Or third option, pay a service tax of 10% first, then avail the successive discounts of 20% and 10%. Which one of the following is correct? Option A, 1 only is the best option for the customer. Option B, 2 only is the best option. Option C, 3 only is the best option. Or option D, all the options are equally good for the customer. So let's work this out one by one. Let's go through the first option. Let's assume that the service costs 100 rupees. Okay, so he gets a discount in the first scenario of 10% and then 20%. So you cut 10% of 100. 10% of 100 will be equal to 10. So the cost price is 100 and I will cut 10% of 100 is equal to 90 rupees. After which I will deduct 20%, and this will be 20% of 90 minus 20% of 90, which is nothing but 18 rupees. So which is equal to 90 minus 80, so we'll end up at 72 rupees. So this is the price right now after the discounts, and then I pay a service tax of 10%. Okay, so that is nothing but 10% of 72. This is not a discount, this is something which I'll have to pay. That is, so I will add it by 7.2 rupees. So totally I will have to pay 79.2 rupees. 72 plus 7.2, that is 79.2 rupees. This is the first scenario. Now let's work out all the scenarios. I will work out the second scenario now. In the second scenario, the successive discount starts at 20%. Okay, so 100 minus 20% of 100 is equal to 100 minus 20 is equal to 80. After that, I deduct it by 10%. I give a discount of 10% minus 10% of 80, that is minus 8, that will be equivalent to 80 minus 8 is equal to 72, just like last time. And then I pay a service tax of 10% plus 10% of 72, which is equivalent to 7.2. So 72 plus 7.2 is same as last time. I pay 79.2 rupees. So there's no change. So there's no quantitative change in scenario 1 and scenario 2. So let's look at scenario 3. In scenario 3, I pay a tax of 10% first, 10% of 100 rupees. I pay it upfront. Okay, so 100 plus 10 is equal to 110, and now I get my discounts. So initially I'll get a discount of 20%. So I'll do minus 20% of 110, which is nothing but minus 22, which will land us up at is equal to 110 minus 22, which is 88. And then I would avail a discount of 10%, that is 10% of 88 minus 10% of 88 that is minus 8.8. So again we end up at is equal to 88 minus 8.8 is equal to 79.2. So this is the third scenario. So there's no difference between first scenario, second scenario and third scenario. all the scenarios are equal to each other. So option D is the right answer. All the options are equally good for the customer. Option D. In 48th question, we have the letters from A to Z are numbered from 1 to 26 respectively. If GHI is equal to 1578 and DEF is 912, then what is ABC equal to? We know that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, these are numbered like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So if we have a look at DEF, then we get this number 456. But they tell us that DEF is 912. So what is it that separates 456 from 912? That is multiplication by 2 will give us 912. Okay. Similarly, we have GHI is equal to 1578. So if we see closely, then we come to know that GHI is 789, and 789 multiplied by 2 will again give us 1578. Now the question is, what is ABC? ABC is nothing but this 123 multiplied by 2, which gives us 246. Can we see 246 anywhere? So option D is the right answer, 246. We have the 49th question. What is the missing term at in the following? ACPQ is to BSU, double colons, MNGI is to at. So we have to find this at. What is this at? Okay. So options are NPJL, option B NOJM, option C NPIL, or option D NPJM. So there is this transition from ACPQ to BESU. From A to B, if you add one alphabet, you would get B. From C to E, you need to add two alphabet. P, Q, R and then S, so 3 alphabet. R, S, T and then U, 4 alphabets. So if I apply the same logic over here for M, N, G and I, so I would get M plus 1 is equal to N. N plus 2 is equal to N, L, M, N, O, P. So I get P. G plus 3, H, I, J. So I get J. I plus 4, I get J, K, L, M. So is NPJM one of the options? That's what we have to look at. And option D is the right answer. We have 50th question. What is the largest number among the following? Option A 1 by 2 to the power minus 6. Option B 1 by 4 to the power minus 3. Option C 1 by 3 to the power minus 4. Or option D 1 by 6 to the power minus 2. Let's work out all these options. So we'll come to know that 1 by 2 to the power minus 6 is nothing but 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2, and we have to do it 6 times, and we get is equal to 1 by 128, which again is nothing but 128 in 64, not 128. Wait a second, I'll just erase this. This thing should have been 64. So which is equivalent to 64. What is 64? 64 is nothing but 2 to the power 6. And now if I go to the options, then I have here this 2 to the power minus 6. I should link it up over here like this. Instead of minus, I should have it as plus. And that would be my answer. Okay. So many of you guys already know it. But anyways, I'm just explaining for the sake of it. So the option B would be 4 to the power 3, which is equivalent to 4 into 4 into 4, which is nothing but 64. So A is equal to B. Option C, in fact, would be 3 to the power 4, which is 3 into 3 into 3 into 3 which is 81. So option C is the highest till now. So option D is 6, since it is minus 2, it will be 6 to the power 2. Okay, so we have option D as 6 to the power 2, which is 6 into 6, which is 36. So option C is the largest option and happens to be the right answer. So we are in the 51st question. What is the greatest length x such that 3 1 by 2 meters and 8 3 by 4 meters are integral multiples of x? Option A 1 1 by 2 meter, option B 1 1 by 3 meter, option C 1 1 by 4 meter, or option D 1 3 by 4 meter. So we need to find a value x such that 3 1 by 2 and 8 3 by 4 are multiples of x, like 2x or 3x 4x, whatever it is. Okay, so before going through that, let me express 3 1 by 2 as 7 by 2, which is, that is 2 into 3 plus 1 by 2, which is nothing but 14 by 4. And the second number 8 3 by 4, I would express that as 4 into 8 plus 3, 35 by 4. So my two numbers are now 14 by 4 and 35 by 4. Now what I would do is that I would take the highest common factor of 14 and 35 and simply divide it by 4. Okay, so let's solve it. 14 comma 35. 7 is a common factor. 7 into 2 is 14 and 7 into 5 is 35. So we get here 2 comma 5. We don't have any common factors, so 7 is the highest common factor. But since we have 4 in this denominator, so our answer would be 7 by 4. 7 by 4 is the highest common factor for 14 by 4 and 35 by 4. 7 is the highest common factor for 14 and 35. So 7 by 4 can be expressed as 1 3 by 4, and it is a part of option D. Let's go to the 52nd question. Consider the following data. For which period was the natural growth rate maximum? And we have different years and birth rate and death rate. So growth rate is equal to birth rate minus death rate. And we have option A 1911 to 1921, or option B 1941 to 1951, option C 1961 to 1971, or option D 1971 to 1981. So before we get into the precision, let's overall see what is the birth rate minus death rate. Like, instead of calculating 48.1 minus 35.5 in the first option, option A, we will just calculate 48 minus 35. Okay, 48 minus 35 will give us 13. Option B, we have 39 minus 27, which is 12. Option C, we have 41 minus 18, which is 23. Option D is also 23. So we have two 23s which are far greater than 13 and 12. So option C or D should be the right answer. So to compare between option C and D, now we will go to the precise calculation. 41.1 minus 18.9 would give us 22.2. And option D 37.1 minus 14.8 would in fact give us 22.3. So 22.3 being greater than 22.2, the growth rate for option D, that is 1971 to 1981, is the maximum. So option D is the right answer. So we have the 53rd question. The recurring decimal representation 1.27272727 and on is equivalent to Option A 13 by 11, option B 14 by 11, option C 127 by 99, or option D 137 by 99. We see that 1.27, 27 and so on is pretty close to option C, but that doesn't mean it's the right answer. So this we can represent it as 128 by 99, right? Because 127 is nothing but 99 plus 28 by 99. Okay, so this becomes 1 and this becomes 28 by 99. So if you see the first option, it gives us something like 1 2 by 11. Second option gives us 1 3 by 11. Last option gives us 138 by 99. See, we have to get this number 1.27 something. 138 by 99 will give us something close to 1.38. So this can't be the answer. So option D you can simply eliminate. In option A2, you will get something like 1.222 and so on. Because 2 by 11 is somewhere close to 22. Okay. So our doubt is between option B and option C. See, in option B, option C is definitely more than 1.28. This we come to know because 28 by 99, I'll just write it down. It is 128 by 99. Okay, and in that 28 by 99 is definitely more than 0.28. Because 0.28 is 28 by 100. So when I am dividing it from a number which is lesser than 100, then the value should also be lesser than 0.28, right? So if I am dividing it by 28 by 99, this value should be more than 0.28. So the value which we get here is more than 1.28. But our value which we require is 1.2727 something. So option C is also not the right answer, although it is very close to being the right answer. So option B is the only contender left. You can verify that. So we'll try to simplify it. 14 by 11 is 1 3 by 11. So what is 3 by 11? See, to reach 100 from 11, if I multiply by 9, I'll reach 99, which is somewhat close, right? So if I multiply by 9 over here too, that is 3 into 9, then I get something like 27. So 1 3 by 11 is nothing but 127 by 99. Correct? I am allowed to represent it that way. Okay. So this 27 by 99 is greater than 0.27. So that's fine with us, and it is just slightly greater than 0.27. In fact, it repeats to become 0.27, 27, 27 and so on. So what is the option number? Option B is the right answer. In the 54th question, they ask us, what is the least 4-digit number when divided by 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves a remainder of 2 in each case? So what this means is that the number is an LCM of 3, 4, 5, 6, because an LCM of 3, 4, 5, 6 is divisible by 3, 4, 5, 6. And not just that, it has to leave a remainder of 2. So ideally we would have LCM plus 2, because an LCM plus 2 when divided by the numbers like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, whatever be it, will give you a remainder of 2. If it was LCM plus 3, then it wouldn't have given a remainder when it was divisible by 3. Anyways, so but is it all? Is that it? They have also put one more condition, that it has to be a least 4-digit number and not just the least common multiple. Okay, if they had given the least number, then things would have been different. They have given least 4-digit number. So let's go through the LCM first and check what its value will be. So we are finding the LCM of 3, 4, 5, 6. You can just work it out mentally, or you may just know it, but still for explanation purposes I'm working it out. So which is nothing but, I'll take 3. I can see 3 as a common thing. 1, 4, 5 and 2. I can see 2 as common thing. So I'll take that out. 1, 2, 5 and 1. So 2 again, 1, 1, 5, 1, and I just get 5 and 1 everywhere. So the LCM would be 3 into 2 into 2 into 5, that is nothing but 60. So 60 is the LCM of 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now in ideal case we would have just said that 62 is the least number, which when divisible by either 3, 4, 5 or 6 will give a remainder of 2. But since they have asked a 4-digit number, now we have to find multiples of 60 which become a 4-digit number. Okay, so I will multiply 60 by 10. I get 600, which is still a 3-digit number. I need to cross 1000 to be a 4-digit number, because the 4-digit number starts from 1000. The 4th digit comes in from 1000. So I would multiply 60 with 17, because that would give me 1020, and I'll just add 2 to it because we need a remainder of 2. This is nothing but remainder. So I would get the value as 1022, which is option B. The 55th question. In adult population of a city, 40% men and 30% women are married. What is the percentage of married adult population if no man marries more than one woman and no woman marries more than one man, and there are no widows and widowers? So guys, here we have 40 in a marriage. Just only a man cannot take part, right? A man and woman both have to take part. So if there are 100 men who are married, then that would also mean that there are 100 women who are married. So here they tell us that 40% men and 30% women are married. Let the number of men be X and let the number of women be Y. Then we have 40% of X is equal to 30% of Y. So we come to know that men are less in number, and that's why they get married. More number of men get married. Women are more in number, hence we have less women who are getting married. So if I work this out in an equation, then I get something like 0.4x is equal to 0.3y, or y by x coming here and 3.3 going there, y by x is equal to 0.4 by 0.3, which is nothing but 4 by 3. So we get y by x is equal to 4 by 3. Okay, so what is the total population then? So the total population is x plus y. And what is the total married population? Which we have seen it earlier, it is 0.4x and 0.3y. Plus 0.3y. So what is the total percentage of adult population which is married? Which is nothing but 0.4x plus 0.3y divided by x plus y. Okay, so we'll bring in what we have worked out here. Y is equal to 4 by 3x. When x moves here, then y becomes 4 by 3x. So we'll replace y by x. 0.4x plus 0.3 into 4 by 3x by x plus 4 by 3x, x is common everywhere, so just cut it out, and then I would reach 0.4 plus 3131.4 again by 1 plus 4 by 3, which is again nothing but is equal to 0.8 by 3 into 1 plus 4 by 3, that is 7 by 3, which again is nothing but 3 into 0.8 by 7, which is 2.4 by 7. So let's work this out. Since we are expressing it in terms of percentage, I'll just multiply it by 100. So then I would get 240 by 7. Let's work what is 240 by 7. Okay, 7 3s are 21, so 3 is the remainder. 30 by 7 is 4, so I get 4, and I have 2 as the remainder. So 34 2 by 7 is the answer, which is given in option C. Option C is the right answer. So we have question number 56. What is the remainder when 51 into 27 into 35 into 62 into 75 is divided by 100? The options are A 50, B 25, C 51 or D 1. So I'll write it down over here. 51 into 27 into 35 into 62 into 75. See, one thing I have observed, you can't just multiply all these things, because then you would get a very large number. But I realized that there is 5 in the units place and there is 2 in the units place. So say something like 12 into 65. I know for sure that in the units place I am going to get 0. So for example, 65 into 12 will be 780. And how do I know it? Because I have 5 here and I have 2 here, and 5 into 2 is 10. And once you get this 0 in the units place, you multiply it by any number, that the resultant product would have 0 in its units place. So when I am saying something like this particular number is divided by 100, the remainder should also have 0 in its units place. So say I have a number called 2630. When I divide it by 100, my remainder would be 30, which has 0 in its units place. So once I'm sure that I'm going to have 0 in the product, then my remainder is also necessarily needs to have a 0. So 50 will be the right answer. I've not even calculated what is the product, and it's not necessary also.